I just got an opportunity to set up a booth at a local festival over Mother's Day weekend. Mother's Day weekend is only 3 weekends away, so I don't have a whole lot of time. I can make some cutting boards. So I picked up some materials, and that's what I'll do. I ended up getting 3 kinds. I got some maple, I got some walnut, and of course I had to get some Purpleheart. I got 3 boards, 3 10-foot boards of maple, 3 10-foot boards of walnut, and then this, I think it's like a 4-foot piece of Purpleheart.
Let's start getting this hardwood down to size. I chose to make the cutting boards 11 by 17. As you see here, I cut them a little bit oversized because I will need to trim up the edges after the glue up. This size cutting board is big enough to do all the vegetable chopping you need to do, yet small enough to fit through my planer. This is my first time ever working with hardwood. I have only really messed with construction lumber, which is pine, so I was pleasantly surprised how nice the walnut smelled when I was cutting it. Same with the maple, but the walnut is better.
After that, we have 19 maple pieces, 17 walnut, and 2 Purpleheart. Of course, I got a little scraps, but I'm not throwing those away. We'll find something cool to do with those.
The hardwood I got is sort of a rough cut lumber, which means it's not perfectly square. I first need to trim up one of the sides, so it'll be nice and flat against the table saw fence. Now that one side is square, I adjust the fence and cut these boards into strips that are 1.5 inches wide. I was planning on making these end grain cutting boards that will be approximately 1.25 inches thick after planing and sanding, but let's see if that's actually what happens. I have my helpers out here with me today, so this should be quick work.
I made a nice pile of sawdust, and I also made a nice pile of sticks. Let's see how many cutting boards I can make out of this. We have enough strips to make 13 cutting boards, and I have these leftover scrap pieces. I think I'm going to try to cut these all into about 1/4 inch little pieces and use them as accents for this. I got all my strips cut, but I made a mistake. These little strips that I was cutting, I cut at 1 inch instead of what I was originally planning as 1.25 inches. I really like the looks of these strips in here, so what I think I'm going to do is, instead of it being 1 inch, 1.25 inches thick, I'll just rotate all these and lay them flat, so now it'll be 1 inch thick, but this will be 1.25 inches wide. So if I do that, this is what it will look like with the strips in there.
Not everything can go as planned, right? Now with this little size adjustment, I have enough wood for 20 cutting boards. One of the biggest questions I have after deciding to take on this challenge was, how many boards do I make? Is 20 enough? I did not want to spend more capital on making more boards. I was already $600 in on just the wood. Even if I wanted to, I really didn't have enough time to make more.
Got them all planed down decently. Got a little bit of snipe here, but we can sand that a little bit out. Next part is to trim up all these edges, make sure those are all flush.
The next question that I had to answer is, how much do I charge? You can find cutting boards on Etsy anywhere from $40 all the way up to $300. I just got a laser engraver, so I can set that up at my booth and offer custom engravings on site. What I ultimately decided was $125 a board, and that includes that custom engraving. I offered a $25 discount if you're willing to place an order today, but pick it up at a later date. This would offer an incentive for those wanting a board, but willing to wait for the order, and keep inventory on hand for those that are needing the board today. I went ahead and put my logo on the backs of the boards and generously coated each board in mineral oil, letting them dry overnight.
Here's what one of the maple looks like. I think it turned out pretty nice and smooth. This one right here is probably my favorite. It looks really cool. And then here's one of the maple ones. As you can see, the Purpleheart stripe right in the middle.
I didn't really put any of the Purpleheart inside of the Walnut ones because it's kind of dark and it just didn't really blend in real nice. I thought it would be a good idea to put a notebook of designs out there on display so people could see what options they have or give ideas of what they would like on their boards. They can customize them to put their own last name and dates and whatever they would like. And I put a little number there for reference of, I want number 8 that says Smith, you know, whatever they wanted. So I can design it on the computer real quick and show them and see if that's what they like. Or if they had other wishes, I could try to make those quick too. But just to give them ideas of what's possible. I originally had these printed out on transparencies so they could take the transparent film, whatever you call it, and put it on the board so you could see what it looked like, but the ink didn't really stick to it, so that idea didn't work. Tomorrow is the big day, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, here we are. This is actually day 2. Day 1 was a little crazy, but this is my setup. I was able to get next to an empty spot, so now I have kind of 2 displays. I have this one for my maple and a cedar sign here. This is the maple, excuse me. This is the walnut over here. So I'm able to have 2 signs up. I got my little laser engraver station set up over here. I got one going. Let's see how today goes. So, how many did I sell? The answer is 1. I sold 1 to a walk-up customer. The rest were to friends that came by to support me. And I thought I was disappointed, but then I realized I'm not, because I was able to do something that I haven't tried before. Stepped out of my comfort zone. I made a wonderful product, I think. I had fun. So I was wondering, why did it not go how I expected, or why didn't I do better than what I did? I figure there's 3 things that go into factor here: the price, the product, and the place. The product, I did the best I can. I think they look good. So the price, it might be a little bit high. It's not for everybody, I understand that, but I also don't want to, sell it for my cost. I need to make a profit on it as well. So next is the place. The place was a festival, and that's where people go to hang out, to walk, to socialize, to have a good time. Not necessarily a place they go to spend $100 on a cutting board on a whim. So would I do this again? And yes, I probably would, but I would do things a little bit differently. I wouldn't just be solely relying on one product, a cutting board. I'd have other things like coasters, birdhouses, other little knickknacks for people to roam around and pick out and just see what they like. So I hope you learned something through my experience, and I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.